Let's talk a little bit about Tesla, because you have been an investor with Barron Funds since 2014. So more than a decade that you've been standing by Elon Musk. It's been a very good bet for your firm. You've made how many $1 billion on Elon Musk since then?
Made about $8 billion in Tesla from $400 million when we started. And in SpaceX, we've made about $4 billion since we started that in 2017. So about 12 or 13 billion we've made so far. I think we're going to make 5 times that next 10 years.
You came out strongly in favor of his new pay package that could pay him $1 billion over time if they meet certain metrics. It was not a surprise to me because you've talked to us on the show for a long time about how you feel about him and how he is the key man and how none of these companies would be anywhere near where they are without him. Your conviction, why you believe in that, and then your concentration in his stocks at this point. I was shocked. In your personal portfolio, I think 65% of your personal investments are tied to Elon Musk through either SpaceX or Tesla or XAI.
It's about 40% personally. It's about 40% in Tesla and about 25% in SpaceX, and the balance 35% in our mutual funds. And in SpaceX, I think we're going to make 10 times over the next 10 years. Tesla, I think we're going to make 5 times. And my mutual funds, I think we're going to make 3 times. So it's obviously riskier if you put a large percentage of your money in one entity. For our mutual funds, it's about 22% invested in SpaceX and Tesla, 11% apiece. And then XAI, that's an investment that's smaller right now, but we've only invested, I guess, $350 million in XAI. It's now worth $700 million. That was 2 or 3 years ago. And the next pricing is going to be probably double where it is now. It means about $1.5 trillion, so it's going to be in our top 10 in the next time they price.
I was thinking back to several years ago when you actually sold some Tesla. You did it at the time only because the stock had increased so much in value to the point where it made you a little uncomfortable with how big of a position it was in the funds. It wasn't a commentary on you losing faith in Elon Musk or in the stock, but at the time you said, look, I can't as a fund manager have that big of a position in it. What has changed? Because I think you have a much bigger position today.
Well, I didn't feel uncomfortable, but my clients felt uncomfortable, and I was being criticized for having such a large investment in one company. And we had bought stock at $10 or $15 a share, 12, and it was trading at 220. And we sold for our clients about 25% of their investment. I wanted to make sure that they knew that the reason they held the stock was because I thought it was still interesting, as opposed to that I had died. And so I didn't want them to think I died, and that's the only reason they still owned it. So we sold a quarter of the stock. And then the stock hadn't done anything for 3 or 4 years. And then when President Trump was elected, the stock in the first part of this year went up dramatically, went up to 400. And we sold 5% more. So we sold 30% for clients. I did not sell personally a single share. And what I committed to the board of our mutual funds is that I was the last purchaser. I haven't really invested in stocks since 1992 in public companies. And I told the board, if you let me invest in this, when I tried to get everyone else to invest, nobody else wanted to at Barron Capital. So I said, if you let me invest a certain amount of money, then what I will do is I will promise that I won't sell any of my stock. And I told you I wouldn't invest, but let me break my promise and let me invest. And then I will be the last person out of the stock. So I will not sell a single share of my company, of my shares, until my clients have sold 100% of their shares. And I don't expect to sell in my lifetime Tesla or SpaceX, either one.
Wow. That is a huge commitment and a huge amount of faith that you have in Elon Musk and his companies.
Companies are really unusual. You know, when you think about what he's doing, you talk about the pay package. And, you know, this is not like Rockefeller or like Carnegie, or like Mellon, or like Morgan, Ford, the great industrialists who built this nation, this guy is like Da Vinci, and an artist, and he remembers everything. It's incredible, and the opportunities that he's trying to take advantage of for his clients and for himself. So we say, so why is he doing this? Why, when you're worth that much money, why do you do this? Think about that. Why is he doing this? Why is he working these crazy hours? Why is he risking his health? And to me, what's the difference between $400 billion net worth and $1 trillion? What's the difference? It's not saving up for a beach house. And so the way I think about it is that he wants to think about how people will remember him someday, what he's created, how he's helped humanity survive.
So you think he's playing for legacy?
Yes, definitely. What else could you do? And then he thinks that the business right now, he doesn't really get paid unless the company goes up in value from here 6 times.
Do you think it will?
Yes.
You do?
I think
even Robin Denholm wasn't so sure.
When you're the head of a public company, other than Elon Musk, you have to be guarded about what you say about your business prospects. And you can say one thing in public, and I don't think anyone believes who works at Tesla that he's not going to make 5 or 6 or 7 times in 10 years and 4 or 5 times again after that. I think that I'm thinking about 2,500 of where his stock's going to be, Tesla's stock's going to be in 10 years, and I think it's going to be 4 times that.
Is that a function of automobiles? Is that a function of robots? What is that, in your mind, what is the driver of that?
Have you watched his annual meeting?
I have.
Did you see what he was talking about for Optimus?
Well, Optimus is, I think, for him, the next sort of leg of this whole
He thinks it's the biggest thing ever. And so next year it's going to be 1 million of those units, and he thinks 10 million after that, building a production line right now for 1 million, and it's going to be 10 million, it's going to be 100 million. He thinks it's $1 billion a year that he's going to be able to make in these robots. Think about that, $1 billion a year, $20,000 robots that are going to be, labor saving, make everyone's life. This is a sustainable abundance that he talks about. Sustainable energy is what he had before. Now it's sustainable abundance. He thinks everyone's going to have much better lives, much more prosperous lives, and then maybe there'll be a beach in Mars somewhere.
All right, so let's look at the Tesla chart. Let's scroll up to the monthly chart, and one can see negative divergence. Price was making higher highs, while the RSI was making lower lows. All right, so the best level to get long, where price is going to be selling at a discount, it's going to be this rally, this basing candle, and a rally out. However, you did not get a closing candle above what was previously the all-time high back in November of 2021. Nevertheless, this zone worked once. As price came into the zone early this year in March, we're going to call that monthly buyers at $240. Now again, price is roughly $150 away. Will price get down here? Only if the markets collapse. All right, let's take it down to the weekly chart. Price nearly closed the gap last week. However, if we get more bearish sentiment this week, you will have a candle close and that gap getting filled at the end of the week. I do like this little rally basing candles and the rally out, gap higher, price comes back. So if you missed this setup, this was another setup to get long. That's what we call weekly buyers at 280. All right, let's check it down to the daily chart. Again, more divergence. Equal highs, lower highs on the RSI indicator. So where can price get to? Best levels to get long. See this little rally, base and candles in the rally out, taking out what was the pivot high. We'll call this 350. All right, so definitely price is selling at a premium. Look for price to pull back, in which you could buy the dip if you are bullish going into 2026. Look for first target. To come in at 440.